The raid. Every action in Kabaddi begins with a raid, and understanding it is the foundation of everything else. One player from the attacking team crosses the midline and enters the opponent's half. That player is called the raider. The raider's goal is to touch one or more defenders and return to their own half without being stopped. While in the opponent's half, the raider must continuously chant the word Kabaddi out loud without taking a breath. This chant is not ceremonial. It is the official proof that the raider is operating on a single breath. The moment the raider stops chanting or takes a new breath, the raid is considered over and the raider must return immediately. The Cant Rule. This is perhaps the most distinctive rule in the sport, and it separates Kabaddi from every other contact game. The raider must keep repeating Kabaddi in a single, unbroken breath for the entire duration of their time in the opponent's half. Referees listen closely throughout the raid. If the chant breaks for any reason, whether from exhaustion, physical pressure from defenders, or simply running out of air, the raid ends. The raider must go back, and if they haven't crossed back to their side, they are declared out. It sounds simple, but maintaining the chant while being grabbed, pulled, and wrestled is genuinely difficult. The Touch Rule. When the raider enters the opponent's half, touching a defender earns a point. The touch can be made with any part of the body, hand, foot, leg, or even a brush of the shoulder. What matters is that the contact is real and the raider successfully returns to their half afterward. If the raider touches a defender but gets caught before crossing the midline, the touch does not count. Both conditions must be met: touch and safe return. Each defender touched in a single successful raid counts as one separate point. So a raider who tags 3 defenders in one raid earns 3 points for their team. The Tackle Rule. Defenders stop the raider by holding them physically and preventing them from returning across the midline before the breath runs out. This is called a tackle. The defenders can grab the raider by the arms, legs, torso, or any body part. There is no restriction on where you may hold. What defenders cannot do is use foul methods such as hair pulling, choking, or bending joints in dangerous directions. A successful tackle means the raider's breath runs out before they cross back, and the raider is then declared out. The defending team earns 1 point for that dismissal. Out. A player is declared out in 2 main ways. A raider is out if they fail to return to their half before running out of breath, or if they step out of the court boundary at any point during the raid. A defender is out if they are successfully touched by the raider, and the raider returns safely. Any player who steps out of bounds during play, whether raider or defender, is also ruled out immediately. Once a player is out, they leave the court and sit in a designated out zone on the sideline. Their team loses their presence on the court until they are revived. Revival. For every point a team scores, they revive one of their out players. This is one of the most strategic elements of the game. If your team scores a point by a successful raid, you bring one benched player back onto the court. If defenders successfully tackle a raider, they earn a point and revive a player. This creates a constant push and pull. The size of each team on the court is always shifting. A team that goes on a scoring run can quickly rebuild their full lineup, while a struggling team may find themselves heavily outnumbered. The lobby. Along both sides of the court, there are narrow strips of space called the lobby. During a raid, these areas are neutral, neither fully in play nor fully out of bounds, but only under a specific condition. The lobbies become active playing zones only after the raider makes physical contact with a defender. Before any touch happens, if a defender steps into the lobby, they are out. After contact is made, both the raider and defenders can use the lobby space freely. This rule forces defenders to stay inside the main court until genuine contact happens, which prevents them from using the wider sideline space as an escape route. The bonus line. In professional Kabaddi formats, Including the Pro Kabaddi League, there is a line drawn partway into the opponent's half called the bonus line. If the raider crosses this line with at least 1 foot fully over it, while still in the air or on the ground, and then returns safely, they earn a bonus point in addition to any touches made. The bonus line rule encourages raiders to push deeper into the opponent's half, which naturally creates more physical confrontation. To claim the bonus, the raider must have both feet off the ground when crossing, ensuring it is a genuine crossing action rather than just a toe touch. The do-or-die raid. After 2 consecutive empty raids by the same team, meaning raids where no point was scored and the raider returned safely without touching anyone, the 3rd raid is automatically declared a do-or-die raid. In this raid, the raider must either touch a defender or cross the bonus line. If they return without doing either, they are ruled out. This rule exists to stop teams from sending raiders into the opponent's half with no intention of scoring, purely to waste time or disrupt the rhythm of play. It keeps the game honest and forces attacking intent. The empty raid. A raid where the raider goes into the opponent's half and returns safely but without touching any defender or crossing the bonus line is called an empty raid. No points are scored, no one is put out, and play simply continues. While it sounds harmless, empty raids carry risk because they trigger the do-or-die rule if they happen in succession. Experienced teams use the occasional empty raid deliberately to study defender positions, to tire out the defense, or to buy time when a key attacker is not ready. But back-to-back empty raids come with consequences. The super tackle. When a defending team successfully tackles a raider while having only 3 or fewer players on the court, that tackle is called a super tackle and earns the defending team 2 points instead of 1. It is a rule designed to reward defenders who manage to stop a raider even when significantly outnumbered. From a strategic standpoint, it means that a team being dominated does not simply collapse. There is always a mechanism by which they can earn extra points if they perform well under pressure. Super tackles are often the most celebrated moments in professional matches precisely because they come from a position of disadvantage. The super raid. When a raider successfully touches 3 or more defenders in a single raid and returns safely, it is referred to as a super raid. There is no special bonus point attached to the term itself. The points come naturally from the number of touches made. However, the consequence of a super raid is significant. Touching 3 or more players in one go often sends the defending team below the threshold where super tackles become available to them, and it can revive multiple players on the attacking team at once. A well-executed super raid can completely shift the balance of a match within a few seconds. The all-out. When every player on one team has been put out at the same time, it is called an all-out. The team that achieves this earns 2 bonus points in addition to the points already accumulated from the individual outs. After an all-out, the opposing team's players are all revived and brought back onto the court, and the game resumes. An all-out is a significant swing moment in any match. Teams that manage to engineer one, especially through a combination of raids and super tackles, can build leads that are difficult to overcome. Court boundaries. The Kabaddi court is a rectangle divided into 2 equal halves by a midline. The full court measures 13 by 10 meters for men and slightly smaller for women. The boundary lines are considered out of bounds, meaning if any part of a player's body touches outside the line while play is active, that player is ruled out. During a raid, this boundary applies to both the raider and the defenders. If a defender is pushed out by the raider, they are out, even if they did not intend to step over. The court dimensions and the strict boundary rule together concentrate all the action into a relatively small space, which is part of what makes the game so physically intense. Match duration and format. A standard Kabaddi match is played in 2 halves of 20 minutes each, with a 5-minute break in between. Teams switch sides at halftime. Each team fields 7 players on the court at a time, with additional substitutes available on the bench. Substitutions can be made during breaks in play or after an all-out. The team with the most points at the end of the second half wins. In knockout tournament situations, if scores are tied, matches may go to extra time or a tiebreaker format, depending on the competition rules. The struggling rule. Once a raider has been caught by defenders and the physical contest is ongoing, the raider is allowed to struggle and fight to break free and cross the midline. There is no rule requiring a raider to stop moving once held. As long as the raider's breath holds and the chant continues, they can drag defenders, twist, fall, roll, or use any physical means to cross the line. Defenders must maintain their hold. If every defender loses their grip and the raider crosses back, the raider escapes, and the raid is successful. This prolonged physical contest, sometimes lasting many seconds, is often the most dramatic part of any individual raid. Kneeling or sitting while raiding. A raider who falls, kneels, or sits down inside the opponent's half while still chanting is not automatically out. They can continue the raid from the ground and may still touch defenders or attempt to crawl back. However, if the raider's body, beyond just the foot, crosses the outer boundary line in this process, they are out. Defenders sometimes try to force a raider to the ground and drag them toward the boundary, rather than simply restraining them in place. This adds a spatial dimension to tackles that goes beyond just grip strength. Fouls and violations. Referees enforce a clear set of conduct rules throughout the match. Defenders may not use tactics that are considered dangerous, such as striking the raider, twisting limbs unnaturally, or deliberately targeting the head or neck. Raiders may not push defenders out of bounds, intentionally using their full body weight in a running charge. If a foul is called against the defending team, the raider is declared safe regardless of whether they crossed back. If the foul is committed by the raider, they may be ruled out. Repeated or serious violations can result in a player being suspended from the game at the referee's discretion.